Estelle forward combo here. So pretty interesting comps for both teams. Not, I mean, a lot to say about it, kind of too much to say about it. So we'll just have to see how it plays out here, Gordo, as we're getting started right now. Everybody
Yeah.
took bulk up.
Yeah, lots of bulk up around to be had, and yeah, compositions we've seen a lot out of so far today from the likes of Hungry Like Nephew. Bun Bun Bonanza showing us something a little bit different. Lily Bun rocking that Rasmus over in the front lines. Be battling it out here to see what they're going to be able to do on the goal arc. Liari, as you said, playing that Juno alongside Scyther on the Brawler. Luna, I've been very impressed by Scyther when he's picked this one up in the past from time to time. Eyes going to be on him to be able to get the big headers, make the big plays. Already going to be starting things off with the barriers, and Liari finds an angle to get in there and take the shot. First goal over to Bun Bun Bonanza.
The strength of the Bun Bun comp is you do have that kind of, for Demon Deus, Rasmus Gully is basically an iron wall on this map. Juliet is really, really bad into it, in my opinion. I think it's pretty hard for the Julie to play the game unless she has help. So if they can isolate that matchup, it's going to be very, very good for Bun. And also the Juno Luna can kind of cover anything. The Luna dash and the rocket, as well as the Juno jump with slimes, means that, or no matter where you clear the core, there's going to be some sort of resistance from Bun Bun Bonanza. So Vaughn is going to have to be very, very careful at wherever he plays it here. And Liardi lose, we might be seeing a little bit of pseudo goalie out of the Estelle here as well, just so they can last and give Bells enough time to get some plays rolling here as the core flip comes out from Vaughn, giving Bells a little bit of time over on the side, but it's not going to matter as this barrier already is going down.
Yeah, I mean, Bell's just ticked level 2, and they're maybe going to go down 2-0 before he really gets to do much of anything. But there he goes, finding an angle onto Scyther and taking him down. Lilybun and Liari now with their work cut out for them in a 2 versus 1. Lilybun not going to be able to hold on to the goal. You already lose, going to put Bells right back into a scoring position. Goals open on both sides. Crater comes on across off the respawn from Scyther. Death Touch not quite going to connect, but Liari with an opportunity passes it on down right to Scyther, right into the goal. And 2-0 for Bun Bun Bonanza.
Fortunate little arrow beam there. Hits it kind of right into Liari, who called it out there. And Liari with a great pass down to Scyther. Overtime speed just means that it's going into the bottom side a lot quicker than anyone can get there on the side of Hug. So 2-0 here for Bun Bun. It's going to be a pretty good start for them. I do think they do have the slight advantage. Juno and Luna, like I said, can cover basically everything early on in these sets. But as the core gets going faster here from the Estelle, and the more cooldowns that they get, it will kind of start to swing slowly back into Hungry Like Nephew's favor here. Bell's looking incredibly low and is going to be going down, and now it's the power play for Bun Bun Bonanza, who wants to clean up the set. 3-0.
Oh, nice shot there from Vaughn, though. Going to be able to take one on over onto the other team's barriers. Still going to be unlocked without too much trouble. There's Liari, sets it up for Scyther, dribbled off the wall. Vaughn can't cover it. And it is a 3-0 sweep for Bun Bun Bonanza in the first set of the series.
Yeah, and Vaughn just doesn't quite have the tools to actually save a lot of that. They need the help, rather, of the Estelle. I think Yordi Luz needs to be a bit more in that double goalie role and just kind of let Vaughn, or let Bells cook on his own, which he has been doing in the past, even though it's not a great matchup. I don't know, it seems like kind of the only option for them. Team player going over to Liari is going to make it even harder for this era to save these shots by herself. So we'll have to see if they do anything here. A little bit of an interesting pick here. Scyther actually going built different, taking it away from Lilybun here. I guess they assume Bells is going to be taking the size anyway, but he immediately locks in the stacks on stacks. You already lose, gets that stinger. It seems like they have a little bit more play potential here. Bells getting that speed, you already lose getting that damage, but I still feel like Bun Bun have the advantage in this matchup here, Porto.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be a large Luna getting involved now, finding themselves with a little bit more space to strike, a little bit more power on the headers, and a little bit more damage on that Crater. Can't complain too much about any of those. They will be set up now to eventually be able to keep that win streak going, to be able to knock out Vaughn, prevent him from being able to keep up the defense for very long at all, and Scyther are going to have no issues opening on up the goal. Will they be able to close out the point? Lilybun a little bit far away from the goal. Oh my goodness, almost sends it back into the goal by accident. Does get the dribble back up and forth between the opening up barriers, and Scyther alongside the Blabo just stuffs Vaughn and puts it in for a 4th point in a row.
I feel like I've seen that shot so many times. Just that bottom corner is so deadly. Or Bun Bun Bonanza here. Vaughn can just not quite get to the core every single time. He's just a little bit off, as no one really is there to help. So maybe finding a way to get that adjustment here for Hug will help. Bell's doing a decent job at finding some of these barriers early. Not quite going to get any luck there as Lilybun clears it out. But the core definitely on the side of Bun Bun's a little bit more that last point. A little bit unfortunate ending for Hug, but seems like they're finding a little bit more ways to play this matchup. But Bun Bun has that core flip on Liari, using it, getting the core forward. Scyther now almost has that core flip, but cannot keep it forward still. Bells now is going to get a little bit of time to play here.
Yeah, now keeping the pressure on towards the barrier, not quite going to be able to finish it on off. There's another Magical Maelstrom setting up for Bells to be able to take down the full lock and open on up this barrier. A shot now to be able to score for Bells, and he's going to take it. No energy burst needed, nothing out of Lilybun. Going to be able to hold on to that defense, and it will be tied up at 1-1 as Hug does break the loss streak.
Little MOBA dash punch there with that angle. Pretty good little play from Bells. The evade clear was almost there for Lilybun, but not quite able to time it just correctly here. Magical Maelstrom going to be clearing Lilybun out of the way, and it seems like that seems to be the answer for Hug, who get both barriers. Get the dash punch. Well played from Bells. That was a clinical dash punch right there onto Lilybun, which is nothing you can do. The Magical Maelstrom opens everything up, and that's exactly what you need.
Yeah, that was the pop-off out of Bells there, just dancing on him off the back of the score. Really well done here by the likes of Hug to be able to get themselves back into this game. Up 2-1 now as they move on over. Might be looking for another score here before too long. Bell's going to be able to run on up, and there's going to be a KO found. Hungry Like Nephew coming alive in set number 2. They have no problem opening up the game, and there's going to be Bells finding a third score. Full set going over to Hungry Like Nephew after going down 4-0 to start things off. They just take 3 in a row and tie things up.
Taking 3 in a row. It seemed like once Bells got that stacks on stacks up, it seemed incredibly easy for them to play the game. Vaughn also finding a couple very, very key Magical Maelstroms there, as we talked about during the set, and getting that first pick as well. Monumentalist is on the board. Not quite sure what to pick here. Rasmus going that size. Monumentalist will be going over to the Era, and Bells denying that hot shot. I guess that's probably what they were talking about, why Vaughn was delaying his pick there. Adrenaline Rush going to be denied. Excuse me here, from a Scyther going over to the Estelle, which isn't too bad actually. The Estelle has been getting, I believe, got a KO last set, so it has the option of getting these KOs with this bulk up, with the Stinger. So the Adrenaline Rush definitely is going to be a little bit scary here coming over for Yardy Lose.
Yeah, going to be exchanging blows now as they look to take things back into their favor. Bun Bun Bonanza losing control just a little bit here. It will be tied up at 1 set apiece. Bells looking to take Liari off the map on the top side. Not quite going to be able to find it this time. Moves back over to Liari. Blavo sent on out to try to keep on the pressure towards this barrier. Will not end up coming on through. Another pendulum swing out of Lilybun, going to clear out a little bit of space to the opposite side. Liari going to be able to pick it up with the Blavo bounce up at the top. Scyther waiting on the bottom, keeping up the pressure on both fronts, but Vaughn doing a really good job of navigating on around the whole way. It's the Crater that ends up clearing things on out. Scyther not getting in the direction he wanted. Finally will be able to open up the goal for his side. Lilybun sending it off the bottom. Liari going to be hanging on. They're going to be able to get the bounce back on towards the barrier there. Scyther looks to find a scoring opportunity. Won't be able to get it on through there. Takes one more strike and can't get it past Vaughn. Bewitching Beam sends it out of the way, and Crystal Thorns going to knock Scyther around on the opposite side, prevents the opportunity from coming on through. Bells gets death touched out of their potential combo, but Vaughn clears out away Scyther once again. Big damage found its way onto Bells there. They still need to be able to get it on in for the scoring opportunity. Scyther cannot get in there for a strike. Lilybun going to clear it up towards the top. Lilybun still hanging on. She will not allow the point to come on through. Going to be able to set it up right in front of the goal. Bells going to be able to take it off the top. Ooh. Sends it to the bottom corner, and Bells, with another perfect shot, will put himself up 1-0.
Yeah, that was kind of a little classic Bells combo there. The dribble into the punch into the extra speed strike, and especially in overtime, that's going to be incredibly fast. Lilybun not quite able to save that one here, and it seems like this core is just, like I said, so fast. There's so much core speed in this game in general, and with both goalies, which we didn't talk about earlier, having these pauldrons in overtime, they have the core speed with just a simple strike, especially Vaughn with that Era Beam buffing himself, going to be getting a little bit more power, is definitely going to be hitting that core incredibly hard over to Bells, who just has the opportunity to do anything he wants with it. But on the other end, Bun Bun do have the opportunity to dash onto anywhere that Vaughn clears the core, so if they can call him out one time, they definitely can get that goal. Both barriers now down, and it could be a power play here up in for Bun Bun, but no, Bells with a great flip to avoid it for now, and it seems like it's even playing field with both barriers down.
Yeah, Vaughn clearing things back up towards the top. Scyther hanging on. Will not be able to get it on across. Liari duked it out with Bells, and Bells has just been so on point since that second set kicked off. Going to keep it going. Flame Flurry right up in the face of Bun Bun Bonanza. Takes a KO and takes a point. 2-0 on the set for Hungry Like Nephew.
And all really Bells has to do is just kind of sit and wait in the, just kind of wait in the bush there, you know, wait right where Lily Bun is just, you know, a threat, but can't quite pendulum swing him. And then once the core starts going through, it's exactly that. Daft Punch getting everything right here as the barrier goes all the way down.
KO, another point.
Bun Bun, but no, a KO. And it doesn't even matter because the goal just goes in anyway. Hungry Like Nephew with the 3-0 this time.
I mean, Bell's starting to pop off here, coming away with an MVP for that set. Really setting up some perfect scoring plays there. And the backup from Vaughn, always in a position. Here comes the draft, and Hungry Like Nephew starting to run away.
Running away with it for sure. The extra special denial going to be stopping the Luna a little bit, but the Luna still does get that prize fighter, so a lot of damage going to be coming through from that pick. Big Fish now going over to the Era, who is already looking pretty big. Recovery drone on the Lily Bun now, making use of that Mighty Colossus power buff, and a little bit more size is going to help for sure. And I think the key of this is the midfielders both getting a Dash Awakening, Super Surge, and Explosive Entrance respectively. Liari and You Already Lose both kind of, you know, not really too involved with this game so far yet. It's kind of been all the brawlers, all the goalies, especially on the side of Hug, but You Already Lose now with that dash, going to be able to involve himself a little bit more. A great clear from Bun Bun, going to be getting it away for now, but not before Bells does get one of those barriers.
It was looking real good for a while there. Lily gets the ricochet in the wrong direction, though, at the end. Still clearing out some space here. Scyther pulls away the attention of two members of Hungry Like Nephew, opens up the goal, gives an opportunity to score. They're not going to be able to close it out there, but they do get both of the barriers. Lily still hanging on to the last remaining one. Knocks back away, You Already Lose, low on stagger. Bell's looking to take it forward, going to get it knocked away from him. Scyther looking for a dash opportunity. Liari takes it in with the Blabo bounce. Can't quite find the shot on goal, but a KO is secured. I think Scyther took that one for themselves. Now going to move on over, gets another whammy to just keep people at bay, keep them from getting onto the core. Snagged away from Liari by a well-placed Bewitching Beam out of Vaughn, who's coming up to play midfield, back into his old position, seeing if he can close it out there, but Scyther seizes the opportunity and takes it into the goal. 1-0 on the set for Bun Bun.
And that strike went so fast there. Vaughn could not do anything. I don't even think he had his strike back up in time there. After he struck it away initially, Scyther had it covered anyway with the boost. But that was a well-played and well-placed shot, recognizing that the core speed is just going to be too high for Vaughn to handle here. One barrier going down for each team. Another KO here. Power play for Bun Bun as they get an early KO.
Yeah, Scyther with a really well-placed boost there, going to be able to create the power play for the rest of the squad, and there's going to be the score! Knocks away, Bell says, get out of my way, I'm taking this point home for Bun Bun. And we might just be going to a set number 5 at this pace, Borg.
And it's a fast pace. I've been talking about it all game here. And Bun Bun have that explosive potential, and finally they're realizing it as the specialized training on Bells is just nuking him immediately, and then the pendulum swing puts him off the map. That's another KO, and that's another power play for Bun Bun off the bat.
The KO's coming thick and fast here, Borg. No chance for anybody to respond or to gather themselves as Borg is your Borg. They're going to be able to open up the goal barrier there, and they take it right into the goal. Bun Bun Bonanza. They have accelerated this game ridiculously, and they're going to be able to close it on out.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like Hug didn't even have the chance to play. After Scyther got those prize fighters stacked, it seemed like he just started one-shotting everyone, and now he's getting rewarded with the Deadeye. Hungry Like Nephew could not lose that set like that. They needed to at least make it close, but now they need to be even more careful as the Luna with that Deadeye going to be one-shotting basically off spawn. We are seeing a prime time here for Vaughn to try to shrink a little bit more in that twin drive here, denying it from the Juno, but are they really getting anything of note? Not really. The aerials on Estelle, he already has a Dash Awakening, so we'll see if that can do anything. It seems to me, Gordo, that Bun Bun have found their way back into this game.
Yeah, and now with a chance to be able to take a serious degree of control is Bun Bun Bonanza in this set number 5. Taking the game number 1 would be huge for them up against Hungry Like Nephew, trying to restabilize themselves in the league. Get ahead of 50-50, but Lily Bun's Whiplash! Oh no! I don't know if it expired or if it was an early recast by accident, but either way, it gets sent right into the goal.
Just right as the piercing shot went through Bun, the secondary was casted, but not quite able to be recasted early enough. So the recast ended up just kind of putting it in anyways. So well played from Yordi Lose to catch that piercing shot there, and well played from Bells already to get both these goal barriers off the bat, and Bun Bun are looking in trouble already.
Yeah, I mean, it's really kind of looked like it's going to be one-sided one way or the other for pretty much every set we've gotten. And Hungry Like Nephew off to a great start for this 5th one. Let's see if they're going to be able to hold on to it. Going to be Liari down towards the bottom, but Bells sneaks it in there, finds the angle once again. And now 3 opportunities to score 1 point for Hungry Like Nephew to go up 1-0 in the series.
Hungry Like Nephew have the early 2-0. Bells with an insanely good strike there. The dash strike perfectly timed. That's honestly way harder than that looked, by the way, for those looking at home. Like, it wasn't just
hard.
He got the stun and then he got it. He perfectly timed the strike so his secondary wouldn't hit the core. Really, really well done there. Great flip from Vaughn here to deny it for now, but the specialized training on site, they're going to be getting that barrier and almost putting Vaughn low, but not quite, as Vaughn does have that pauldrons. Seems like Bun Bun are kind of trying to strike back here, and they do have the health, they do have the energy. They're looking for something, but they cannot find a KO yet.
Yeah, great coverage from Liari there with placing the Blabos to be able to secure the core wherever the energy burst ended up going, but only going to end up with 1 barrier for it, 1 barrier apiece. Now Bun actually going to be able to keep up the pressure with that recovery drone, takes it in on towards the barrier. We'll be able to open up things up for the rest of the team. Scyther taking a huge amount of abuse here, though, going to get knocked back away. Low on stagger, but Liari, the drive-by strike, finds its way into the goal, and Bun Bun are on the board for set number 5.
They are on the board. That was a little bit of shades of the first set there, Gordo, when they started kind of overwhelming Vaughn with these dashes on the forward duo here from Liari and Scyther, respectfully. Looked pretty hard to save, but that is coming off the back of a lot of displacement in the midfield, getting Vaughn off of kind of his, a little bit of, excuse me here, as the core kind of goes through here. Bell's kind of taking it up here. 1 barrier goes down for each team almost, especially training on Liari Lose. There's too many things happening, Gordo. Take it away, because I cannot keep up.
Knocking it away, going to be able to find their way on towards that barrier. 1 barrier left apiece, and the brawling back and forth. All 6 members getting involved here, but a nice placed whammy from Scyther will create the power play for Bun Bun Bonanza. They managed to open on up the goal. Lilybun knocking him away with another pendulum swing, another opportunity as they cycle back onto the offense. Respawn just coming on through now. Liari with 1 more shot, still can't push it through, and it's going to be Scyther still hanging on by a sliver of HP. A big blast, gonna knock away another, gonna create a second power play for Bun Bun Bonanza. Liari trying to grab it with the Blabo bounce, will not be able to find it, and Scyther is off the map, creating a 2 versus 2 for now. A brief power play given over to Hungry Like Nephew as they look to get themselves in a position to be able to score. They open up the goal for themselves, but Scyther is back and respawned. It's back to 3-on-3 territory. Scyther trying to connect with the whammy. Liari dashes forward. Neither one brought the core with them, though, and now Lily going to be able to hold on to the defense for a little while, but Bells is in there. Flame flurry into the goal, and Hungry Like Nephew will walk away with game number 1.
Even though You Already Lose goes down, extending the power play for Bun Bun, Bells finds a very crucial KO onto Scyther, which makes Vaughn's life a whole lot easier during that 2v2 there. And then once You Already Lose comes back on the pitch, Vaughn with another great save with the Bewitching Beam on the defensive side. Just going to be shutting down everything Bun Bun throws at him. And then Bells, obviously, with the flamethrower, going to be finishing it off here very quickly. Looking at the stats, Bells pretty much putting in almost all the goals, except for You Already Lose, who did secure 1 of his own. And a really, really close game here, Gordo. And just to keep everyone on their toes here, that was Hug's map pick, and that was really, really close. So I'm excited to see here what Bun Bun's map pick is going to look like in this next game.
As am I. Yeah, really good showing here by Bun Bun in game number 1, keeping things close, keeping things competitive, nearly being able to take it for themselves. And now going to be looking at their own map selection for game number 2. Not sure off the top of my head which one that is, but we will be able to see it here before too long. Really, really good start here for both sides, but Hungry Like Nephew going to be the ones walking away with the 1-0 lead and with the chance to close out this series in 2-0 fashion if they are able to keep their feet under them and continue to perform at a high level for this second game.
Yeah, it will be the Atlas Lab for game 2, which is Bun Bun's map pick, and Demon Deus into Atlas Lab. A lot of kill maps coming in here, even though Hungry Like Nephew didn't really play much of a kill comp that time around. I still think the Estelle and the Juliet have the opportunity to get kills. Bells, I believe, got 4 last game of his own. So definitely still some potential there for sure. And on the Atlas Lab, I'm curious to see the comps that they will run. One thing I want to note before we kind of go up to this next game is I really liked the adjustments each team was making throughout that game. The first set, Hug was kind of getting steamrolled a bit. The dashes were proving to be really hard for Vaughn to deal with. So you already at least started to help out a little bit more, block the pass, make it a little bit easier for Vaughn to just work on that 1v1 instead, which worked out wonders for them. And then Bun Bun started to get kill. They started to start, KOing all these guys with Scyther, with the specialized training, with the prize fighter on the Luna. And it made Hug's life even harder, and then the fifth set kind of culminating into a very, very close battle. So definitely appreciate kind of both teams keeping each other on their toes here. And now an even more, explosive map here in the Atlas Lab is going to be continuing. I guess that'll adrenaline dump, and then we're getting a really good awakening start here too, Gordo, with the heavy impact and the missile prop.
Yeah, going to really raise some questions about where the priorities are going to fall as we get into draft number 2 with those 2 awakenings on the board here. Gotten to see a lot of heavy impact starts today. Going to be another one for the record book. And yeah, as you said, that extra benefit towards ranged characters going to maybe lead to favoring towards those ranged goalies. Once again, Bun Bun Bonanza certainly going to be happy with that one, especially if they do feel it appropriate to run back something like the Luna. Could get some value off the missile prop there as well. We will see what the bans are going to be to start things off. Hungry Like Nephew, of course, with the first pick, given that it's not their map.
Yeah, they do have the blue side, which is going to be very, very crucial. I'm expecting. Yep, there we go. There we see a Luna ban. The respect going towards Scyther there. I don't think Vaughn's interested in playing this one goalie on the Atlas Lab here, as there is a missile prop start. Do not want Luna on that awakening. Bun Bun going to be returning here. I'm expecting a Vice ban, as Vaughn is incredibly good on that pick, and it is a heavy impact start. So we'll see if that goes through. If not, maybe a Juliet ban for Bells, who, I mean, Juliet's probably the best brawler in the game right now, especially with that. Oh, actually going to be an era ban. So does not want the era Vaughn, I guess, scaring him off with that last game here. I don't know if that would have been the best pick on this map anyway, but hey, what do I know? I'm only a coach. As we're getting here, the first pick. I'm expecting the Vice Gordo. That's kind of what I think is going to go on here. Maybe an Estelle, just because it's a good flex pick as well for Caleb and Vaughn. It's going to be the Vice on that first pick.
Yep, as you called it out there is the Vice. Well predicted, boy. Because remember, you're more than a coach. You're a retired player, my
I'm a
friend. So
caster, right?
you're a caster. Yeah, that
Boom. And
too.
casters know all. That's what we're
Yeah,
talking about.
that's true. You know what? Never mind, actually. You had a way better line of thinking than I did on that
You're
one. We'll
welcome.
go with that. As there's going to be the Finny locked on in for Bun Bun Bonanza. Very likely to be in the goal arc, I would think, for Lily Bun, but still some chance to move things back on away. And the Estelle, I think, probably going to lock that one in as factual.
Hey, I might not have the casting skill like you do, Gordo, but I got my one-liners. I got my quick wits as we're getting in here. Lots of
Half the battle,
damage,
brother.
like I predicted, coming through for both teams, the Finny and the Estelle, and the Vice on the other side. So I'm expecting to see a Juliet here for Bells. I feel like the character's just too good to not pick right now, especially on this start. And then on the other end, I feel like Caleb, you could kind of pick anything. Actually, it's going to be the
No.
Drek'ar forward here for Bells.
Really
This
taking you
game
up
is
on that pick anything, Borg, as
yeah,
they
I mean,
snap that one
let's
up.
just let's just be here honest here. I don't know how much you've been paying too much attention to the recent meta, but Bells has kind of become the new progenitor of this Drek'ar forward pick. He's one of the few that have been running it a ton recently and has actually pulled it out in pro a couple times too. So on the missile prop start, it's going to be very, very nice. And then the Juno for you already lose is just going to keep everything kind of stable in the midfield. I think that's a really, really good pick. You don't really need any more damage. You have the Vice, you have the Drek'ar, you have the damage abuse. Just pick the Juno, who has a little bit of damage herself and can keep the core controlled, especially against this Finny, who against range goalies is definitely a menace. And then Scyther coming in through with the last pick on that Kazan, who I think is a pretty good pick here. But I do need to stress that the Kazan might just get KO'd 80 times this game.
Yeah, I mean, that's the risk, right? Going to be a little bit squishier on that front line and going to be coming on through here for Scyther to round out the draft. Doesn't get that buff up, but with a triple take from Finny or something, could have a little bit of KO potential for themselves. If they're able to get the drop on the likes of this Drek'ar or this Druno, but we'll see what the starts are going to end up being. Going to be all damage all the time, especially for point number 1 here as we start things off. Is that missile prop heavy impact start, like you said? So expecting a missile prop, at least for the likes of the Drek'ar. maybe some of these other ranged characters as well, but definitely going to be a big, heavy impact start here for the likes of this Kazan to be able to try to make their own way with that extra impact damage.
Yep, as we're about to start loading into this game soon, I'm expecting it's going to be a banger. It's going to be a blaster, as the Drek'ar blaster is going to be firing on all cylinders this game. The Kazan, I'm scared for the Kazan's safety and life. The reason I stopped playing the character was due to this right here. It just dies very, very easily, especially early on in the game before you get that level 2 and you get that second form. So Scythe are going to be needing a little bit of an early boost here to get going, but that definitely is possible when you have that Finny, you have that Estelle, you have that explosiveness in order to get past this Vice. So I definitely am going to give the edge rather to Bun Bun in terms of core control. I think they can score a little bit easier. However, I think the KO potential of Hug and their team comp with the Vice, with the Drek'ar, with the Juno, it's going to be a little scary for Bun Bun to survive and play this game. So it could be really close. It could be a Hug sweep. We'll see as we get into the game.
Yeah, Hungry Like Nephew with a nice little, I'm not going to call it creative, but it's a different look than we get to see from most teams on the day. And you'd be excited to see how they're able to perform with it on Atlas's lab. Going to be Bun Bun Bonanza returning to composition that they are plenty familiar with, especially with that Finny in the goal arc. Going to be coming on through with that Kazan pick, like you brought up. And going to be trying their best to navigate away from the big KO pressure being output by the likes of Hungry Like Nephew in this game number 2. See if they'll be able to navigate this one and force the series to go the full distance. Was a strong performance from Bun Bun Bonanza in game number 1. Let's see if they're going to be able to keep that together for game number 2 and maybe push it even that little bit further.
Trying to even it up here in maps as we're getting started here. Everybody on the side of Bun Bun does have that heavy impact. On the other side, it's going to be missile propulsion for 2 members. Bells and you already lose Vaughn, of course, taking that heavy impact, and things are already underway as both barriers, or rather one barrier on each side, is going to be down, and the second barrier and a KO here for Bells going over to the Hug, and Liari and Scyther are now in a 2v3.
Yep, and I mean, there's that lock and load right off the bat. Bells taking it to the house. Gets in there, picks up the first goal off the back of that KO, and down a member, Bun Bun Bonanza, kind of just get run over on that first point, and there's that damage threat that you were talking about, Borg. It manifests nice and early.
It manifests nice and early, and with the pummelers on Bells too, the knockback is no joke. Vaughn putting that little bit of damage in with the slow help, and then you already lose. Going to be getting the core where it needs to be, but that doesn't really matter where it goes when Bells is just taking him off the pitch like that.
Yeah, I mean, Lilybud and Liari doing a good job being able to turn that back in towards a barrier here and really able to keep things on offense long enough for Scyther to respawn. They only lose out on one barrier before Scyther's able to get back and involved. But of course, another KO has already come and gone. Lock and load. Bells stacking them up. Takes the score. And Hungry Like Nephew are up 2-0.
2-0, and Bells already, what, at 3 KOs? And then Vaughn found one for himself there as well with the ultimate. Has almost 3 core flips coming in here. I'm expecting this to be a pretty quick 3-0 for Hug, unless Bun Bun can find some sort of miracle.
Yeah, I mean, we need some stagger right here for Bun Bun Bonanza, clearly, or a change in approach, or maybe even both. As there goes another one, Bells, yeah, 4, so that's confirming your count. Your math looking good so far here, Borg. Flips come out across the board. Health bars are so low for Bun Bun Bonanza, and Vaughn says, screw my own goal. What am I even doing there? What's there to do? It's just scoring time for Hungry Like Nephew all day long. 3-0, one of the faster sets I've seen.
Probably the fastest set I've seen today. There's been some quick ones, but that one was pretty insane, as we are going to get some interesting awakenings here. The Reptile Remedy will come through, so we might try to deny that. Bells wants the power. He wants the bulk up. He's getting swole in real life and in game here. Finny now has a chance to take up that Monu, which is going to be incredibly strong if they can get it on offense. But I don't know if they can get it on offense, Gordo, because Reptile Remedy is taken away. Spark of Strength now is going over to Liari, and they have no survivability here. Glass Cannon is not going to matter for Scyther. Adrenaline Rush going over to Yordi Luz, who has been helping with the KOs, so this is only going to get worse.
Yeah, I mean, avoid taking damage. That's going to be the tough part for old Scyther here. I mean, already down below half, already forced off the play. Bells is on in here, taking the first of the barriers. Scyther just trying to run away to get some value off this glass cannon. It really feels like Lily the only one who's been able to have a particularly profitable draft here. And other than that, the game plan going to be difficult to show up on here from Bun Bun Bonanza. Given how these points have gone so far, Bells unloads, takes a point. Call that 4 in a row.
And there's pretty much nothing Finny can do against the Drek'ar as well, actually, point blank. If you don't have that primary, then it's pretty much hopeless. And even if you do, you still have to time it perfectly in order to get away from the strike shotgun. So with Vaughn teleporting in, with the slimes coming in as well, it makes Liban's job incredibly difficult. Liari has to help, but it's hard for Liari to help when you're getting dash punched by Bells by the strike shotgun. I don't even know what you call it, the spit shotgun. Is that the combo? As they're already getting a KO, and as the Scyther tries to come in and save the game here, stall a little bit of time, it's not going to matter too much, as still a barrier up for Bun Bun, but Scyther's going to go down nice and soon.
Yeah, Bells is locking and loading this game, and really running away with it so far here. Like you said, Liari needs to be able to help out on defense, but when Liari tries to help out on defense, he gets KO'd. Bells going to be able to get his 6th there, takes Scyther off the map, and yeah, I mean, I think a lot of your concerns about this draft pre-game, Borg, have come to fruition. And looking like options are just becoming more and more limited for the likes of Bun Bun Bonanza as they lose another member. Bells is right on top of Lily. It doesn't even use the flip, just says, all right, I'm going to take this from you here. Push this right on in.
I mean, I don't even think there are options. I'm going to be honest. Screw limited. There's 0 options for Bun Bun Bonanza. They're level 2. They're level 3 against the 4 and 5 of Hug. They need something, and that something is a miracle.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't feel like we talk about level leads very often in Omega Strikers, but they're really showing up this time as, yeah, Bells just continues to just dominate this map. Going to be both barriers taken down nice and early here. Scyther with a chance to be able to take a point. Trying to call out the clear. Will not be able to snag it with the crooked leverage this time. Another opportunity to go for a poke here, trying his best to clear things out. You already lose, gonna get KO'd by the top spin, and a chance to stop the bleeding from Bun Bun Bonanza. They get themselves 2 KOs for a nice burst of XP, and they will keep themselves in the match and in the set for now.
Is that a miracle I see, Gordo? I mean, I might have summoned it a little bit there. As they get the levels, they get a little bit more staggered. They're able to survive a little more now, and it gives Bun Bun just a bit more of a chance to actually do something this set, because if they can win this set, they can get a good draft. They can actually have a shot in this game, but that's easier said than done as they're already both below half. Vaughn now might lose his barrier. However, the health bars are still looking a little bit low as Bells can probably end them at any point here.
Yeah, I mean, stay away from Bells. Name of the game here. Molten Bolt connects onto Lily Bun. She's going to have to fall back away. Vaughn going to be able to snag one with the Thunderstruck. Gets on in there with the Supernova, but still cannot push it in towards the barrier. Clear out coming through. There's going to be the flip from Scyther. And back into the goal. That's 2 in a row for Bun Bun Bonanza.
Now, don't get too excited. Bun Bun use their energy. Lily Bun has pretty much the highest energy here for the team, but Scyther has nothing. Liari has nearly nothing, only 1 bar. Whereas the side of Hug, they have almost all their flips coming up very, very soon. So this is going to be tough for Bun Bun to hold out as Bells is taking absolutely everything.
Oh, the lock and load onto all 3 plus the core. It's beautiful to see, but painful to watch at the same time, as they will be able to easily take themselves that second barrier, but not quite going to be able to close out the point. Scyther KO'd, take it off on the left side. Actually, thought he was already down, but they made good on it one way or the other. Supernova going to force it loose without both members. Bells in position, doesn't get the lock and load, but you already lose Will to keep that pressure up. Takes the burst, takes the shot, still can't push it in. One more chance for Bells. Still can't get it on pass during the power play, so will be the full force of Bun Bun Bonanza. Back end available here. Damage still coming on through. Tough to deal with for the likes of this deep composition as Bells is such a big KO threat. Takes another lock and load shot. Still can't push it through. Finally! Bells able to push it in, wins the set for Hungry Like Nephew, and they are 1 set away from a win on the series today.
Bun Bun almost got them. They came back, they found a little bit of room, but they just did not have any opportunity to finish it off in that last point. The Juno I want to highlight is just doing so much at keeping the core away from the entirety of Bun Bun Bonanza. All Vaughn really has to do is make 1 save against Scyther, and then instantly you just see the Juno kind of take over and just force it into these corners, making Bells' job so incredibly easy. We're going to see some size going over to Bells, denying it from Scyther here. More damage with the Super Surge going on to Vaughn, and then Caleb, you already lose rather, with that Stinger. And we do see the Prime Time and Spark of Focus coming over for Scyther and Liari respectively, which is more cooldown. That's 2 sparks for Liari, and Lily Bun does have that hot shot, so they have more cooldowns to play with here, Gordo. They might have a little bit more of a chance now.
Yeah, 2 sparks for Liari, neither of them the stagger one, so still KOs as a risk, but like you said, definitely getting themselves a little bit more space to play with. Bells going to use that recovery drone right off the bat and say, I bet you wish you had this one. Be able to get another power play for the team, but once again, cost of this power play is both barriers, so they're really going to need to get some value off of this one. Triple take off of Lily Bun, taken off the board. And it is another power play cycled through for the likes of Hungry Like Nephew. Bells stepping up forward. No Molten Bolt quite available. Nice clear from Liari, going to buy them some time to be able to get the rest of the squad together. They do take the second barrier. Goal now up and available. Bells, the lock and load. Nearly able to push it through. And Scyther burning on down. KO'd by another shot from You Already Lose. Bells sends it in towards the goal. Vaughn is up here with the Supernova. Doesn't even need to detonate it. As Hungry Like Nephew will take another point. 2 more to go for Hug.
It doesn't even make sense, Gordo. How is Bells finding some of these KOs here? That KO onto Lilybun to kind of restabilize Hug to the power play just made it so insane. He kind of is tricking the enemy into thinking he's not going to contest them on the wall, and then he backs up, and then he backs up again, and then he turns back around and just lock and loads them in the face, and they die. So I don't know how he does it. I've tried to do it. I can't do it. I don't get it. And he gets another KO, and the barriers are opened up. Hug on that power play with an open goal.
Yeah, I mean, making the Drek'ar look pretty strong today as they put themselves in a supernova position. Don't actually get the push into the goal. But they're wishing they had that one back. But it doesn't matter, actually. They say, yeah, whatever. Bells take it home. Push it through. 2-0.
Slime accelerating it forward. Bells getting the credit for the goal. It's 1 more point for the series to be over here. Bun Bun need to lock in, and they need to lock in now, but they also need to not get lock and loaded as Bells hunting for that KO yet again. Liari has no energy. However, they do lose both their barriers here, so Bun Bun have a chance here, Gordo.
They do. Seen themselves in this position before. Really nice placement on the big finish. Finds the KO, but they do hold on to the point. Scyther's taken down. It's a 2-on-2. But Liari with 1 more shot takes it through with the Crystal Thorns. Not going to be able to find it. It's a double barrier cross map found by Bells. Vaughn going to be able to clear it out with the Supernova. You Already Lose back here, but piercing shot from Liari will find the ricochet, will push it into the goal, and will give Bun Bun another point.
1 step at a time, and that piercing shot is step number 1 in getting back into this game for Bun Bun Bonanza. They have the tools, I feel like, right? After that draft, they have the cooldowns, they have double spark. Liari can try to do something, but with Bells just on the prowl right now, another KO coming through and a power play from Hug, it seems almost impossible to get anything going.
Bells, please, let him breathe. Because there's just no opportunity to get much of anything done. Vaughn's here for the cutoff up the respawn. Here comes the last point. Or maybe not. It's cleared out. It's a double barrier right back over to Bun Bun Bonanza. It's going into the goal! And they take it 2-2. Bun Bun Bonanza are holding on.
I don't know how they did that. Maybe just a lapse in judgment. Vaughn thought that the goal barrier in the back would have saved it, but it went away just right in time. And now it's a 2-2. But I feel like, you know, Bun Bun finally have a chance. I don't know if I'm just getting too much hope or not, but Hug get that first barrier, but Scyther now looking incredibly low, kind of back to reality as they're almost dead already.
Any given point, you can always take 1 point, so they have a chance here. Hug looking to close this one out in 3-0 fashion. Bun Bun Bonanza with their chance to hang on. Bells on a 12 KO streak. A counter KO found on the opposite side, though. They keep it safe. It's 2 versus 2. Bells is stuck inside the big finish, trying to push the core up towards the top. The respawns come on through. Oh, no, the angle. It doesn't get onto the core. It doesn't get onto the barrier. Lilybun gonna be able to clear things back out as I'm losing my mind on this point, Borg. They come back up forward for a little bit more. Supernova gets generated. They're going to be able to find a double KO to Bells. Liari caught alone. 1 versus 3. Will she be able to hold on? Of course not. As Hug will take it 3-2. A 3-0 set and a 2-0 series. Hungry Like Nephew move themselves up to 4-1.
Valiant effort from Bun Bun there towards the end. Almost managed to claw their way back into it, but it's just not going to be enough. Hug playing with their food a little bit at the end, but it's going to be securing that 2-0 victory. First game, very, very close. Very, very awesome game to see. Second one just felt like a little bit of a draft if that... I mean, the pocket Drek'ar Brawler comes in and just destroys the entire lobby. 13 KOs and 7 goals here, Gordo.
Bells got 13 KOs that game.
Yep.
That's all I gotta say. I mean, what a
In
what
a,
a run
let me just
there.
make sure everyone knows this, a 13-minute game, he was averaging 1 KO a minute.
Yeah, that'll do it.
What?
And I mean, that includes
Includes drafts.
time in draft.
It includes time in draft. So let's take off what, like like a minute, maybe
At
like a minute
least, maybe
30,
more.
maybe a minute 30 for the draft. There's only 2 drafts, so let's just say a minute.
Sure.
Let's be nice here. A minute. So that's what, more than 1 KO a minute, like 1.3 K. I don't even know.
But it also, like, you gotta shave off, there's like 3-ish seconds per goal where everybody's just emoting on each other.
That too, yeah. I don't even want to do the math. Either way, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, there's at least like 10 points scored, so that's at least 30 more seconds. The ratios are ridiculous here. I mean, what a run from Bells. What a run from all of Hungry Like Nephew here. Is game number 2, they show maybe draft does matter a little bit sometimes as they come on up with a big win and move themselves up towards the top of the table, sitting there right alongside the likes of Showtime, and still looking to be able to get themselves some really good positioning coming into these playoffs. As we're at about the midway point here, Borg, probably a little bit past it now that we are 80% of the way done with the day.
Yeah, almost done with the day here. One more series going to be coming in here. And one thing we actually didn't really talk about, you mentioned there, is the Hug 4-1 now, tied with Showtime. No team is undefeated. This is a very, very close season, so don't count anybody out yet. Bun Bun might be 2-3 now, but that does not mean their playoff hopes are gone. There's still 4 more games. There's still a good shot for a lot of these teams to make it. And now with this next game, we're going to kind of be seeing the finale of this week, the culmination. And it's been an honor to cast with you here, Gordo, as I'm not really sure what the next game is here. I'm kind of ruining my little spiel here, but if you do, I'll let you take it off.
I'll be able to find out. It's going to be PP Legends up against Demons Raw, so excited to see how they're going to be able to do. Kai Noob got to show off earlier today. Let's see how the rest of the Demons squad will be able to do now. Gumi and Snake coming on your screen alongside Fudgy Waffles to face off up against PPL in just a short little bit. That's going to do it for my time and Borg's here, so thank you very much for hanging out with us. Always a party to be back alongside you on the cast, Borg, and everybody else. Enjoy the last match of the day, and we will see you in a few short moments with that one.